As a manager, you know the feeling. You've got a new process to roll out, and you can practically feel the anxiety ripple through the team. But what if you could completely flip that script? What if you could turn that dread into actual curiosity and make the whole thing feel less like a top-down mandate and more like, well, a conversation?
Right? It's the classic problem. You get handed this, 100-page technical manual or some super complex workflow document, and your job is to get everyone on board. But you know exactly what they're seeing, a giant wall of text that just screams more work and please don't mess this up. The old way of doing things is, well, it's simple. We just hand over the document, maybe we do one quick Q&A, and then we just hope for the best. But let's be real. That kind of one-way information dump, it's just a recipe for confusion and disengagement. It doesn't work.
So what if we could turn that whole model completely on its head? What if training wasn't a lecture that you had to force people to sit through, but a conversation they actually wanted to listen to, whenever and wherever they want?
This slide really says it all, doesn't it? Over on the left, you've got the old way. High anxiety, low engagement, just staring down a mountain of paper. But on the right, you see this new approach, an AI-generated talk show. It's the exact same information, but it's transformed into a relaxed, totally low-pressure chat. It's the kind of thing your team can listen to on their commute or while grabbing a coffee. And that right there can make a huge difference in how much they actually absorb.
So, how do we actually pull this off? Well, the tool that makes all this possible is Google's Notebook LM. The best way to think about it is like a personal AI assistant, but specifically for your documents. And the best part? You don't need to be an AI whiz to use it.
Getting started is honestly super simple. You just head over to the Add Sources section and you upload those clunky manuals, those process docs, or you can even just paste in a link. All you're really doing is giving the AI its homework, the raw material that it's going to work its magic on.
And once that document is uploaded, Notebook LM just gets to work. Now take a close look here. See that button that says Audio Overview? That's it. That is the magic button. Clicking that is what turns that dry, boring text into that dynamic, conversational talk show we're aiming for.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. How do you go from that dense document to a custom training module that your team can actually use tomorrow? I've broken it all down into a really simple 4-step plan.
So here's the game plan. First, we upload the manual, feed the beast, so to speak. Second, we tell it how to have the conversation. Third, we get a transcript to go along with the audio. And finally, fourth, we create a quick little self-test. This whole process takes you from one intimidating document to a full-on interactive learning package for your whole team.
Now this next part is maybe the most important bit, customization. See that little box on the slide? That's where you get to be the director. Don't just let the AI summarize. You need to tell it who it's talking to. For instance, you could type something like, explain this new checkout process to a front desk employee who's brand new to the company. The more specific you are, the better and more useful that audio is going to be.
All right, step 3, the transcript. Now, Notebook LM creates the audio, but getting the text is easy. Just download that audio file and pop it into any free online transcription tool. You might be wondering, why bother? Well, because having the text lets people read along while they listen, and that's a super simple trick that's been proven to massively boost retention.
And finally, step 4 is the self-test. You just take that transcript you made, copy and paste it into an AI chat tool, and give it a simple command like, create a 5-question true or false quiz from this text. This gives your team a really quick, totally no-pressure way to check their own understanding and start building up their confidence. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic, but there's a really critical step we just cannot afford to skip. With all this amazing AI power comes a huge responsibility. We're using AI to make things simpler, but as the manager, it's still our job to make sure everything stays 100% accurate. And here's exactly why that matters so much. As this research points out, in its effort to be conversational, an AI might embellish the facts. It might throw in a helpful-sounding example that isn't actually in your manual. Or it might put a super positive spin on a step that's actually quite tricky. This is what's called a hallucination, and it can really misrepresent the actual process.
So before you share anything, you've got to have a quick verification process. Here's the key takeaway. Think of the AI as your brilliant intern, not your seasoned expert. It's incredibly helpful, but you still have to check its work. Just give the audio a quick listen and ask yourself, is this point actually in the source text? Did the AI make up this example?
And always, always remind your team that the audio is a fantastic guide, but the original manual is and always will be the official source of truth. So, when you put it all together, what's the real payoff for doing all this? Well, when you get this right, you're not just teaching a new process. You're actually changing your team's entire relationship with change itself. What you're doing is turning this AI from just another piece of tech into a patient, supportive mentor. It's there for your team 24/7. It will explain a concept 100 times and never get frustrated. It creates a truly low-pressure learning environment where there's absolutely no fear of looking silly or asking a dumb question.
And this slide, this is the real transformation we're talking about. This entire approach is designed to lower that gut-level anxiety that comes with any kind of change. It replaces that fear with confidence. And your team, they won't just comply with the new process, they'll feel a real sense of mastery and ownership because they learned it in a way that actually worked for them.
So the big idea here is that using AI like this, it's not really about the technology. It's about creating a more effective and frankly, a more human way to lead your team through change. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What could you and your team accomplish on your next big project if your main training tool was also their most patient and supportive mentor?